John and Tony are phenomenal musicians. I've been wanting to work with them for a long time. I was waiting, I knew they had a project going on and I was waiting for the call. Frankly, I called John a couple times and he was like, well, we're still recording. And when he finally called me, couldn't wait.
Before we shoot a video for a band, we usually like to shoot them live for a couple of reasons. One is to kind of get an idea of their personalities, their stage presence, the way they play. And another is to get them used to cameras.
When I was handed the story for it, I thought it was, it was extremely dark. And they said the song that was for it, and I was like, well, actually a pretty good match. I think it's better that when someone has a creative energy and you trust their quality and their commitment to the quality, then it may not be a bad thing to let them do their thing.
I really wanted to leave as much as freedom to them as possible, so I pretty much would have done anything, but when I read it, I dug it from the get-go.
It was a rough choice to figure out which song we were going to do. I mean, every song on that CD is great. You know, there's so many visuals going on, and we decided to do Inside, and even though it's 5 minutes plus, we just didn't care. I mean, that's kind of a no-no, and you know, everybody wants a 3-minute music video or a 4-minute music video, and you know, we're going to do this one. It just works, you know, it worked.
When it was decided that Inside was the song we were going to do, Patrick and I sat down and listened to the song many times between the two of us and started trying to get a feel for the mood and the tone of the song and translate that into some kind of concept or idea. And Patrick asked me to start writing a treatment, so I wrote one out, and it was kind of in the vein of the Sixth Sense.
It was a page out of 1981, My Past.
And he called me up, and I knew as soon as I picked up the phone that something that I'd written in there had struck him from the way that he was talking.
I immediately called him and told him about this true story that happened to me and a then-time girlfriend in 1981 in New York.
As soon as he told me that, I knew that would probably be the best direction to go with it.
Putting the whole thing together was very natural, as it's a true story. I knew the shots in my mind because I'd been there, so it wasn't hard to try to figure out, okay, what comes next, where does Tony go, where are things, and pretty much it's there. And I think, as weird as it was for me to do this, it was also pretty easy.
There was never a point where we had to sit and conjure up a shot or an idea. It was already in the person's head, and it was an interesting way of working. This
was also an experiment in shooting totally different than the videos we've done in the past. The videos we've done in the past were all fast, in your face, cameras, freehand. Everything pretty much was locked down to at least something other than a hand. Everything is very slow moving and deliberate. All the shots were paced and planned out.
One little factoid about the video is how long it actually took to shoot. It took a total of 24 hours to shoot. We spent 12 hours shooting the narrative part of the video and 12 hours shooting the performance part of the video. And John and Tony were there every step of the way. John actually got the location downtown for the performance stuff. Tony actually allowed us to invade his home.
They told me they were going to be here at 8, and you know me, I'm like, yeah, I'll be there at 8. Oh yeah, they're 8, I'm not ready.
Tony really came through with his the small acting that he did was kind of a natural. He worked out really well, and AJ was great. The two of them couldn't stop laughing through the whole thing.
My stomach hurts from laughing so much.
Some crackers and shit, man. Some sharp cheddar cheese, you know what I'm saying? We got some grapes. Take it, girl. In the tub. Where'd you put your rubber duck?
But AJ was great. She needs a production credit, actually. I mean, she was extremely helpful through the whole thing.
The hardest part though was the water going up my nose.
Out of everyone that I knew at the time, she was the only one that would do this. The only one that would do this for me. So And then she did a hell of a performance, and she gave it her all, and she let it go. And I mean, for what we were doing, I thought that she did just a hell of a job, and she came through.
Well, thank you, boys.
This video is by far the largest scale video that we've shot to date. Our first video took place in a small little basement.
And it was perfect. Everybody felt it when they walked in. I mean, we had what we needed.
Walking into the room, I was just like insane. I was like, look how big this place is. This is really great. The windows are huge. I was just like, this is awesome.
The past shoots, we've never really had any help. It's always been us two or one other person. And this time we had quite a few people helping in all different aspects.
You know, there was guys that were figuring out the lighting situation while Patrick and I were figuring out the cameras, while John and Tony were figuring out their instruments. And so it became this big team effort.
Everything seemed to flow. I mean, there was not too many problems, you know. Everyone worked hard. We had a lot of extra help that just came out, hung out and watched the video and stuff, and it went well. I thought those guys worked, the directors worked really hard on that. And they worked hard on their shots, and they were just prepared, and that's what made the day go by. They had their shots all set up.
I wanted a nice jib shot for the performance, and being that jibs are very expensive, that wasn't going to happen unless we made something. So we went to the hardware store and designed a jib that Steven dubbed the alligator cam, because he said it looks like I'm wrestling an alligator when we're shooting with it. We were able to get a lot of expensive looking shots without actually having the expense. Innovation, just building different, you know, the ceiling crawler and the jib. And we got away with really good looking shots for nothing. We brought back the old independent filmmaker Standby, the wheelchair, for some nice moving shots, and they look good.
The shots are based in simplicity. It's all about the quality of the moment that you get when you see the shot. And the shot can hang. And the shot can hang a little more. And then it means something else when it hangs just a little more. There's a deeper style of video making that they wanted to try to attempt.
I wanted the scene where Tony shows up at the house and unlocks the door, opens it, and there's a disarray in the house. I wanted that to feel like a big impact, as opposed to just walking in and seeing a messy apartment. I thought about it and took something from Taxi Driver. It's one of my favorite scenes of all time, where this overhead camera just takes you whether you want to go or not.
As far as the look of the video, we knew we wanted to do something different from the videos that we've done in the past. So Patrick and I started researching different looks, looking at different pictures and images and such through magazines and all. And I came across an American cinematographer that I was flipping through, and there was an article on CSI, and they talked about this process that they use called bleach bypass. So I started looking around, trying to figure out a way to simulate that, and I found a plugin for After Effects that allowed us to do that. I think if you look at the final version of the video and the final color version of the video, I think that you probably agree that it adds a whole nother dimension to the video that wasn't there before.
The way we've done videos in the past is pretty much as soon as we finished the shoot, Steven and I would run over and start working on it, hunched over a computer, both of us, you know, picking out shots. And this one was a little too personal. I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and all this, bringing back this old stuff, and I didn't want to look at the footage. I didn't want to look at it for 3 weeks.
This is the first video that Patrick and I have cut together separately. He was cutting on his system, I was cutting on my system.
He added parts, I took away parts, added parts, same thing.
And I think it worked out pretty nicely because it gave him the freedom to cut the video together the way that he saw it. It gave me the freedom to cut the video together the way that I saw it. And throughout the process of editing, he would show me his cut, I would show him my cut. We put together the final video, which is what you see, which is a composite of all the different versions and ideas that everyone had.